Hey everyone, it's Meg and welcome back to another episode of Death Note. We are on episode 20 and I think there are only like 30 something episodes in the whole show. So I'm nervous, excited, grateful. Thank you so much for being here. Last time was a huge focus on Matsuda, who actually got caught by Yotsuba. And although, he acted impulsively and got caught, he was able to kind of stall on his feet, think on his feet, and with the help of Misa and everyone else, he faked his death and they got out of there and no one was harmed. So it was like a nice little comedic episode, comic relief, but I really liked seeing his skills and watching him kind of grow as a character. I really love Matsu. I really do. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Episode 20. Oh! My God, so much information. I just want to say I'm discovering metal. Like I'm in a phase right now. That is the best thing that's ever happened to me. That's so crazy that it timed this way.
In order to further the growth of the Yotsuba group and best serve its financial interests, who should we kill next?
They're really laying it out for them
like I
on
told
the
you last week.
security cameras.
This is not good.
Now, moving on. Our next topic is Geraldo Coyle's report.
Don't embarrass
One of their
yourself.
members just died, and that's all they're going to say.
Yeah, they don't care. They're heartless.
Sounds like this Geraldo Coyle has figured out what we've been up to.
Yeah, no
I
shit.
admit
You
it's
haven't
very
been
impressive.
that subtle.
I think we should focus on ELF insurance. If they expand into the Japanese market, Yotsuba and many other companies will lose valuable clients to them.
He's just eating.
It's all just as we suspected. We were right.
No, unfortunately, we can only be completely sure after those people they've named are dead. We will continue to monitor these meetings and take note of what they say, how they act, and most importantly, whether the people they choose actually die. If we can confirm the connection between their plans and the deaths, then we'll definitely be able to catch Kira.
Okay. Yeah.
I need to reach one of these men and have them stop these murders.
Please hold on. That will cause suspicion.
I mean, he's kind of right. It's really slimy, but
Far more unlikely that we would be able to discover who the real Kira might be. We can't afford such a huge setback seeing how far we've come.
Would it be safe to say that if I try calling one of them, the odds of that person actually being Kira is going to be 1 in 7?
Oh.
I'm thinking there could be more than one Kira among them. A probability of 2 in 7 at most.
If I'm going to pose as L, judging from their conversation so far, the one least likely to be Kira, but with the most influence is Namikawa.
watch it be Owie who has the death note. No, he said least likely. I would just love for Matsu to be right. Because we still don't even know which one of them is Kira, who has the death note, unless they're switching it around. No, they wouldn't be.
Listen carefully, but don't draw attention to yourself. I am L.
They said don't draw attention. I bet he is.
My only option is to join L.
Okay.
No, I'll be dead if Kira manages to find out. What should I
It's
do?
not him. He's not Kira then. Because those are honest.
What's going on, Namikawa? Who was that?
Why do you care? I'm trying to think of who it is. I think it's the brown-haired guy with glasses. I think that's Owie. Him.
L, this should satisfy you for now.
We'll still be meeting on a weekly basis. That is all.
That went well.
But couldn't he just tell them outside of the room?
If I end up dying somehow,
No.
it's quite possible that you would be capable of succeeding me.
No.
You actually might be more capable than I am.
Wow, that's
I
a
honestly
huge
believe
thing
you
to
could
say
take
for
this
him.
Tell me, if I should die,
L.
would you take over for me as L?
Same name on more than 2 death notes. The person won't die. That's interesting. Like, cancels out. That's gonna be so weird if he realizes
If
he
is
was
Kira,
Kira.
just playing innocent, he's sure to say yes.
He still suspects him.
He thinks that if I am Kira, then there are 2 possibilities. Either I'm just pretending I'm not him and putting on an act, or Kira's power has passed on from me to someone else.
Oh,
and I have no memory that I
gosh.
was ever Kira in the first place.
Oh.
He's trying to determine which, if either, is the truth.
Oh my
Figured out
god.
exactly what I've been thinking all this time.
I can't.
But what about now?
Yeah.
I told you I don't want your title. That should prove even to you.
And what do you make of his morals without the death note?
Do you think that I'm actually capable of becoming a murderer, Kira? Even after I help you catch him?
Yes, you do. I've always thought so.
Oh!
Not again.
Okay, break it up! Once is enough! It was a draw, so let's just leave it as an even match, okay?
A kick and a punch.
Here we go again.
I love him. He always makes me want coffee. And sugar coffee. Oh, how many sugars?
It will still be quite difficult to determine who the culprit is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they could be smarter than you know.
But if we don't uncover the entire truth once and for all, Kira will only appear again and the number of victims will continue to increase.
Oh, it's part
That's
of his
why I believe it's
thinking.
more important to find out who Kira really is.
She's gonna be so excited. I love her outfit.
If you had to choose between Light and Kira, who would you pick?
What? That's obvious. Of course it's gonna be Light.
And that's how it went. That's how it went. She chose Light over Kira.
So if you were given the opportunity to work with Light on this investigation, would you take the offer?
Oh!
Of course I would.
They may already be considering Misa as their new spokesperson, so this could work.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Thanks to
Can't do that.
Why not?
This plan is too risky. Who knows what could happen?
Oh, he's so sweet when he cares about people. Yes! I am Misa.
I promise I won't say anything, even if they torture me.
I mean,
I
she
can
didn't.
attest to that.
Yep. Yep.
There's a good chance he might try to manipulate her into revealing what she knows and then kill her.
But she doesn't know
If he
anything.
does manage to kill Elle, he won't have any
Oh,
use
she
for
does
Misa.
now.
He'd kill her to keep her silent.
I don't
About
like
Elle.
the sound of that.
These are my last 3 brain cells trying to exist in this world.
Oh, I think I've totally misunderstood you all this time.
Well-
I even called you a pervert. But you actually do understand how I feel, don't you? You're such a sweetie. Thank you, Ryuzaki.
I could actually fall for you.
Oh, that's
But you could maybe be a friend of
cute.
mine. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Yes. So now I've gained yet another friend.
Yay!
Of course. And Lex is a friend of mine as well.
Yes!
And we'll be working with his father and the
Oh,
others.
so you're working with
I'm
Misa?
afraid it will just be you and I.
Oh.
What's up with that?
Come on, Elle. Now you're just playing dirty.
If I can be useful, then maybe you'll love me even more.
Oh.
And besides, I would gladly die if it were for you, like.
Figuring out the logistics of arresting 7 people is going to
It's
be
like she's
challenging.
always
I
in a
don't suppose
show.
You two have any ideas?
Are you gonna miss your boys? I mean, they might actually do well, you know? Oh, so what's gonna pop up after this, I wonder? I hope it doesn't spoil. It won't. I like him in a suit. He looks older. Oh my god. Yes, it stays. The freaking theme song stays. I'm so happy. I love that. So it's like 2 halves of the show have different theme songs. That's so cool. Oh my god. The music is so good in this. It's so good. Sorry about that box back there. Boomy was chewing it. I love how they're all getting more and more unhinged, especially that trio. I will never get that out of my mind. Like, I want that on a shirt, just the 3 of them dancing like that. Yeah, fun, friends. And I honestly think, if Elle just says something like, I think I could fall for you, he means that. I believe that he meant it when he said, I consider you a friend. To Aizawa, to Light, like he means it when he says that. There are times, and I love that about him, where you can mostly tell or he's honest when he's being deceptive. And then you can tell when he's telling the truth, or if there's at least an element of truth to that. And I just love his character. And I'm noticing the dark circles are getting deeper, darker. But it's funny because, sleep deprivation and, hyper focusing on something can lead to like horrible consequences. And, we've seen that. I've experienced it. But it also, in small doses, can allow for this kind of absurdity and humor. So just watching them like kind of go down the rabbit hole together and all kind of go, at least they're working together. At least they're not completely imprisoning them, torturing them like before. I just love, the show is really funny. Like the writing is very funny, which I appreciate. It is the most self-aware detective show. Like they don't hold your hand. Like I feel like the creators behind the show don't expect the audience. They don't want to deceive us. It's so weird. It's like nothing I've ever watched before. They don't want to deceive us as the audience, and they don't want to make us go down a weird like way of thinking. It's not a whodunit. You know who done it from the beginning. So you're kind of just, it's like, it's a braver way to tell a story because you have to trust that your characters and your plot is entertaining enough that we don't need it to be twists and turns and shocks and like mentally, oh my God, they did it? Oh, no, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? It's more that I am so interested in the relationships, the character development. And then, yes, there is a plot. There are events that are unfolding, but it's not a typical traditional detective story in that you are trying to really find out who did it. I personally really enjoy that. I love a good whodunit, a good mystery, but this is, I don't know, it just allows for way more character exploration, and also the themes that they're dealing with power, who is capable of murder, are we all, is it the Death Note, is it in us, all of this stuff. Like there's just so many themes that it explores, and that's really cool. I love that on the surface Elle is such a thinker. If you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality type, they have a part where they test you on whether or not you rely on thinking versus feeling to like make decisions, especially important decisions. And it's clear that Elle is such a thinker, and I think it's mainly what he uses to make decisions, but there is a lot of intuition in that man. Because there are a lot of things that are illogical that thinking cannot solve, because we're dealing with Shinigami, we're dealing with this guy who supposedly lost his memory to reprieve himself of culpability and ensure that he gets away with it. And I just love that moment of Light being like, do you really think that I'm capable of doing something like that? Because that version of Light doesn't think he's capable of doing something like that. He really doesn't believe it. And Elle just looks at him and he's just like, yeah, yeah, I've always thought that. He's always been a suspect. And I just love that because I am more of a feeler. I like, a feeling and also intuition versus like what's in front of you. Sorry, I got the Myers-Briggs mixed up. there's thinking it versus feeling, and then there's also one that's like senses versus intuition. And I think L is very much senses like what's in front of him, but also has a very strong intuition. And for me, my intuition is everything. So it's true. And I think like before, the first episode was the Death Note being dropped, but I think a lot of us who do trust our intuition and have strong intuitions, we would have said the same thing about Light because of just his attitude. And I don't know, it's just an intuition thing, and it's interesting. So loved that moment so much. And then the kick and the punch, like what symbolism. They're such foils. They're so alike, but then different in some ways. Yin and yang, like the foot versus the hand, and they both went for the punch/kick at the same time. And then also something I noticed with this episode was the use of L messing with his food to tell a story, because he's going on and on, right? It's like word vomit. It's just literally his thought process, his train of thought. And we watch him as he's messing with something. And in school, we're taught to not fidget, even though neurodivergent people, like I have fidget toys in there. I have a lot of them. And we're told not to play with our food because of manners. And he's just going. But it tells a story. It kind of reflects either his emotional state, or it reflects where his brain is going, how he's trying to solve the case. It can literally represent the case, which is what we saw. I was like, how many sugars is he putting in? And it's kind of distracting, but it also helps understand his character more. And I think something like that makes or breaks a show, because if this character was just going on and on and on, and he's a very what's the word, neurological, sorry, I forget, he's very in his head and more monotone, then we could lose interest really quickly. But the fact that they add all this other stuff, like how he's messing with an object, I don't know, just as an actor and as someone who appreciates characters and stories, I think it's intentional and it's really helpful and interesting. And oh my God, if he actually thinks he's gonna die, if he dies, I'm gonna be a mess. But as always, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my tier 4 patrons for producing the video, John G. Robinson and Light Yagami. Shout out to Light. I appreciate you, and thank you to all my other YouTube channel members and patrons. Thank you if you're still watching on this journey. It's gonna be a whirlwind, going to the end. I would like to finish this before the end of the year, so I really want to see what happens. And I want some Death Note merch, so let me know if you have any recommendations. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.